I walked into the kitchen at 1:47 a.m. and heard my wife whisper, "He still thinks I'm asleep." A voice replied, "You're getting good at this." I just hit record. The next morning, she woke up to a message that simply said, "Hey there, we're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know." Now let's get into the story. My name's Liam. I'm 34. I've been married to Claire. She's 32 for 7 years. We met at a mutual friend's wedding, danced once, and that was it. I was hooked. We built a life that, on paper, looked great. House in the suburbs. A rescue dog. A shared Spotify account full of playlists we curated together. It all looked like love. But love doesn't whisper in the dark at 1:47 a.m. It started on a Thursday night, or technically, early Friday morning. I'd stayed up later than usual patching up a client's security breach. Around 1:30 a.m., I was finally ready to crash. I tiptoed upstairs, quietly, so I wouldn't wake Claire. But when I passed the hallway leading to the kitchen, I noticed something strange. Light. She usually turns off every light religiously. She's the type who glares at the TV when the screensaver's too bright. But that night, the overhead light was glowing softly. I paused, listened, and that's when I heard it. Her voice. Very quiet. Almost like she didn't want the walls to hear her. "He still thinks I'm asleep." I froze. My first thought was, maybe she's on the phone with a friend. Something casual. Maybe someone's in trouble or she's worried about something. But then the voice on the other end of the call, clearly male, said something I'll never forget. "You're getting good at this." And then they both laughed. My spine went cold. I didn't walk in. I didn't shout. I didn't even breathe too loud. Instead, I reached into my hoodie pocket, pulled out my phone, and hit record. I stayed behind the hallway wall, barely breathing. I didn't catch everything, but I caught enough. Claire was saying something about how he's too busy with work to notice anything, and we just need a little more time before I can move. The voice on the other end, smooth, confident, talked about booking another Airbnb next weekend. She told him I thought she was going to a yoga retreat with friends. When the call ended, I heard her sigh. Then the click of the light switch. Footsteps padding down the hallway. I ducked into the guest room and shut the door just enough to hear her footsteps go upstairs. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there, listening to the recording over and over, rewinding every word, analyzing her tone, her lies. This wasn't just a slip. It wasn't a one-time thing. This was a plan. The next morning, I didn't rage. I didn't ask questions. I didn't even look at her funny. I handed her a cup of coffee like I always did. Sat at the breakfast table like I always did. She talked about how great her workout was yesterday. Asked if I wanted to do tacos for dinner. I nodded, smiled, and just before I left for work, I handed her a sticky note. She looked confused and read it aloud. "Kitchen, 1:47 a.m. Check your camera roll." Her face drained of color. I walked out. She didn't text me. She didn't call. Not until an hour later, when my phone lit up with, "Claire, can we talk?" I didn't respond. I just opened Pandora's box, and I wanted to see exactly what crawled out of it. Claire didn't text again after that first message. She was probably waiting for me to storm back into the house and scream, accuse, cry, something she could emotionally pivot on. But I didn't. I went to work like nothing happened. And the moment I sat down at my desk, I started pulling strings. See, when you work in cybersecurity long enough, you learn that digital footprints are messier than actual ones. Even the best liars leave fingerprints somewhere. Deleted texts, recoverable. Synced notes, still cached on secondary devices. App data, goldmine. And Claire was not careful. We share an iCloud account, not out of control, but convenience. Shared calendars, shared playlists, even shared photo backups. But what she didn't realize was that she never logged out of her old iPad that was gathering dust in the guest room closet. It still pinged her data. So while she was upstairs rewatching Grey's Anatomy and pretending to be the heartbroken wife, I sat in the guest room and watched her mask crack in real time. The messages with Z started innocently. Workout advice. Stretching videos. Then came the late-night messages. Zach, did he buy it? Claire, hook, line, and dumb husband. Zach, we'd be amazing together. Like for real this time. Claire, we are together. This is just temporary. That word, temporary, burned. Zach, her yoga friend. She mentioned him in passing months ago. Said he helped run her Saturday group. I thought he was just some middle-aged fitness bro. Turns out, he was her ex. The one she said broke her heart. The one she told me she'd never, ever speak to again. I remember that clearly because I had asked her, early in our marriage, if she ever had someone she wished had worked out. She laughed and said, "There was a Zach. But that door is shut and locked." Apparently, she just found the spare key. The worst part wasn't just the affair. It was that they were strategic. They weren't just sleeping together. They were planning an exit. Claire had messaged Zach things like, "I'll wait until after the appraisal comes back, then we make our move. He's too distracted right now. I can push him towards selling. He thinks we're upgrading for a family. By the time he figures it out, we'll be gone. And I'll have my half of everything." I remember sitting there, jaw clenched, feeling the heat rise in my throat. Not because she cheated, but because she was playing chess while I thought we were building a life. She was trying to beat me at a game I didn't even know we were playing. That night, I went home and acted like nothing had changed. She was back to being sweet, kissing my cheek, asking about my day. At one point, she leaned in and whispered, "I'm sorry if I've seemed distant. I've just been stressed lately." Stressed? Sure. I smiled, told her she deserved a break. "Maybe a weekend away with your yoga friends," I suggested. Her eyes lit up. She had no idea I was setting the stage. You know what's worse than being cheated on? Being studied, analyzed, broken down, reduced to patterns and psychological tics like some character flaw waiting to be exploited. That's what it felt like when I found the document. It was buried inside the Notes app, titled casually, "Speech, if it happens." At first, I thought it was something innocent, maybe something for a work presentation or her mom's birthday toast. Claire loved planning what she'd say. She didn't wing it. She rehearsed everything. But this wasn't a toast. This was a script. A breakup speech. Addressed to me. "Liam, I care about you. You're a good man. But lately, I feel like I've been disappearing in this marriage." That's how it opened. Sweet, gentle. The kind of tone meant to defuse a bomb while still pulling the pin. But as I scrolled, the tone turned colder. Calculated. "You've been so focused on your work that I've been carrying the emotional weight alone. You don't hear me anymore. I feel like a roommate, not a wife. This isn't your fault. But I need to choose me now. And the closer. I hope you understand that this wasn't sudden. I've been holding this in for a long time." That last sentence made me laugh out loud. Because yeah, she was holding something in. It just wasn't love. It was lies. Rehearsed. Word for word. Ready for the day she finally decided to burn it all down and make me believe I lit the match. But it didn't stop there. Right below the speech was another note. Just a bullet point list. No context. Just cold strategy. Wait until Refi closes. Push him to sell. New city equals fresh start. Mention feeling unseen. If he cries equals use, "You're stronger than this." If he's calm equals say, "This is why I feel alone." If he begs equals cry and say, "I can't carry you anymore." Pack fast. Leave while he's at work. I reread that list 3 times. She thought of everything. Every possible reaction I might have. She didn't just cheat on me. She studied my responses like a playbook. It was like reading a war strategy. Except I was the enemy. And I hadn't even known we were at war. So, I saved it. Downloaded the note. Backed it up twice. Then I started thinking like her. That night, when she came home from a late stretch session and kissed me on the cheek, I kissed her back. I asked if she wanted Thai for dinner. She said sure. I asked if she was free for a movie Saturday night. She said she'd have to check with the girls, but maybe. I smiled. Told her I'd clean the kitchen tonight so she could rest. And while I was rinsing dishes, I whispered to myself, "If he's calm equals say this is why I feel alone." Let's see how that one plays out. By this point, I knew one thing for sure. Claire thought I'd break. She was counting on it. She wanted to be the calm, composed one while I unraveled, cried, begged for her to stay. So she could walk away guilt-free, play the victim to her friends, and run into Zach's arms like she'd been liberated. She didn't expect silence. She didn't expect me to go still. That's when things started shifting. First, I met with a divorce attorney, one I found through a friend of a friend. The kind who doesn't advertise. The kind who's used to handling affairs that don't get messy, because the work is done before the bomb goes off. I showed him everything. The audio recording, the texts, the notes. His first question wasn't, "Do you want a divorce?" It was, "How clean do you want this to be?" I said, "Surgical." We drafted a plan. By the time Claire's yoga retreat with the girls came up, aka her weekend getaway with Zach, I had already opened a separate bank account in my name only, pulled 50% of our joint funds into it, froze the shared credit cards, removed my name from anything with her debt, set a flag on the house deed to block unauthorized sale or refinance, filed the initial divorce paperwork in secret. I also booked movers, reserved a storage unit, all timed for exactly when she'd be out of town. See, Claire thought she was playing chess. What she didn't realize, I was the one who built the board. The night before she left, she kissed me like everything was normal. Said she'd be back Sunday. I offered to drive her to the airport. She declined. Said she'd Uber. Less hassle. I watched her bags roll down the driveway and disappear into the early morning fog. And then, I went to work. I packed her things into boxes. Every last item. Her books, her crystals, her 5 different phone chargers, her framed quote that said, "Energy doesn't lie." Ironic, considering everything about her did. I stacked them neatly in the guest room. Then I walked through the house and reclaimed it. Not angrily, not emotionally, just quietly, room by room. I put away the wine glasses she always left out, took down the fake Polaroids on the fridge, folded her throw blanket on the couch, and stuck it in a bin. Then I sat down at the kitchen table and wrote one letter. Nothing dramatic. No guilt trips. No begging. Just the facts. I ended it with, by the time you read this, I'll have already filed. Everything you packed into your lies, I've unpacked into legal reality. If you're confused, refer to your notes. You made the plan. I just moved the deadline. I sealed it, labeled the envelope. From your emotionally distant husband. Then I left it on the counter, right next to her favorite mug, the one that said, "You control your destiny." I figured she'd appreciate the poetry. Claire's birthday fell on a Sunday that year. The same Sunday, she came back from her yoga retreat. She walked into a half-empty house. Her stuff was boxed and labeled. The closet was clean. The kitchen spotless. The fridge had exactly one thing in it. A half-eaten cake from the night before and a bottle of oat milk she always said she hated but still drank. The letter was waiting on the counter. She didn't text me that morning. Not even a question mark. But I know she read it, because a few hours later, her best friend Bree messaged me. "Bree, WTF is going on?" Claire's freaking out. "Bree, she said you packed her stuff and filed? Are you okay?" I didn't respond, because I wasn't done yet. See, Claire's friends had planned a surprise brunch that day at this trendy spot downtown. Flower wall, overpriced cocktails, mini waffles shaped like hearts. Claire loved it. Bree booked it weeks in advance. The kind of event where they all wear pastels and post things like, "Brunch with my soul sister's sun sparkles." The plan was for me to show up near the end and give her a little speech. Something sweet. The loving husband bit. Instead, I let the truth walk in without me. I'd set it up the night before. I created a public Google Drive folder, dumped everything in it. The kitchen recording, screenshots of the messages, the breakup speech from her notes app, her bullet-pointed exit plan. I even screen recorded myself scrolling through her texts with Zach. Then I uploaded it all to an airdrop-ready link. And I titled it, "Happy Birthday, Claire, you're not that good at this." At exactly 12:32 p.m., right as they brought out the little sparkler cupcake and started singing, I hit the airdrop from my phone. Everyone at that table got the pop-up. Most accepted it out of curiosity. 1 second, they were clapping and smiling. The next, silence. I wasn't there, but I got the play-by-play later. Claire froze. Bree was the first to open the folder. I heard she gasped out loud when she read the note titled, "If he cries." Another friend dropped her mimosa. Claire snatched her phone and tried to play it off. She said it was edited. A joke, taken out of context. But once people heard the full audio clip, her voice whispering at 1:47 a.m., "He still thinks I'm asleep." There was no recovery. She left the restaurant in tears. I stayed home, watched a documentary, made pasta. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. I didn't need to expose her to hurt her. I exposed her to free myself. And as cruel as it may sound, that brunch was never going to be a celebration. It was always going to be a wake. After the brunch bomb dropped, everything moved fast. Claire didn't call. She showed up. 2 days later, I came home from work and she was parked in the driveway, sitting on the hood of her car like we were in some bad rom-com. She wore a sweatshirt 2 sizes too big and no makeup. Her visual for, "I've been crying for hours." Maybe she had. Maybe it was part of the act. She stood up when I stepped out of the car. "Liam, can we please talk?" I didn't answer. I just walked past her, opened the front door, and let it close behind me. She didn't follow. Instead, she sent a message a few minutes later. "I messed up. I panicked. I thought you didn't care anymore." Then another. "It wasn't real, Liam. I mean, it happened, but I didn't mean for it to go this far." And then the one that really showed her hand. "Can we please just talk like adults? We built a life. Doesn't that matter?" I didn't respond. She tried again the next morning. And the next. By Friday, she'd stopped asking for forgiveness. Now she was asking for half. Her lawyer emailed mine about her share of the house, the cars, and even my retirement account. Which was interesting, because she never contributed to any of it. Not the down payment. Not the repairs. Not the savings. But now she wanted a slice? I let my lawyer handle it. Quietly. Precisely. A few weeks later, I found out Zach dumped her. Apparently, he thought she was already separated. When the truth came out, he ghosted her. Blocked her on everything. Claire went crawling back to her friends, but most of them had already chosen sides. And for once, they didn't choose her. The brunch reveal was too much. The evidence too overwhelming. No one wanted to be near someone who staged a whole emotional collapse, just to steal a house. I never said another word to her. Not in person. Not over the phone. I signed the paperwork. Transferred the funds that were legally owed. Delivered the last of her things to a storage unit under her name. Even paid for the first month, just to be decent. And then I sent her one final message. Just 10 words. You're getting good at this. Keep practicing with someone else. She didn't reply. She probably won't. But sometimes I wonder if she replays that line in her head the way I replayed her voice at 1:47 a.m. He still thinks I'm asleep. Not anymore. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.